YouTube! What the Rome 2 crap is going on? HeirofCarthage back. And I really do like Rome 2 multiplayer, and you can see there's actually still quite a few games on it. It's just that even though there's quite a few games sometimes people are using mods and stuff, and I'm using the music mod right now, which is why it's reading out all the games. So even though there's a lot of games up, it doesn't necessarily mean it's easy to get one, and I do miss Quick Battle. And I know some of you are like, why would you even like Quick Battle? It's where like all the spammers and stuff were. In my mind, I got attached to multiplayer in Halo, so matchmaking is kind of like what I'm used to. It's fast, it's random, you just go, and that's always the way I've kind of liked multiplayer, which is actually one of the reasons why I'm not saying it's like my favorite Total War installment, but that's one of the reasons why I've kind of made an exception for Total War Arena, as far as the fact that I would normally never touch a free-to-play game with a 10-foot pole. But it's fast, it's random, and it provides multiplayer quick, and so that's one of the reasons why I've actually enjoyed it so far. It doesn't mean that it's perfect for me or anything, but I think that they've come up with an idea that I could certainly see myself being okay with. So yeah, I've got a battle for you today, and I'll give you some background while it's starting up. It's a long battle, and it's a very close one, and as you can see, the Roman player there spamming the living daylights out of Praetorians. You might be like, what were you thinking going into a huge funds battle with the Suebi and not spamming Swordmasters or something? Well, it's because we all had a little conversation in the lobby. You see, there's this guy here who was under the name of like the history teacher, and he was really going on about history. Suebi this, Suebi that, they did this, Romans this, talking about history. And when I saw the huge funds battle and that it was a city defense and both of the enemy players picked Rome, well, my natural reaction was to pick Sparta. And you might be like, really? Why Sparta? Well, because Royal Spartans, at this, basically it was unlimited funds level, so the rules were no artillery and no upgrades, meaning you couldn't upgrade your troops. So Royal Spartans will own a Praetorian Guard if they are in phalanx, especially when they can't be outflanked in the streets. So I basically just picked Sparta and spammed Royal Spartans because I figured the Romans were spamming Praetorian Guard. And so anyway, the history teacher and my teammate, now my teammate was actually honest and holding integrity about what he wanted me to do. He wanted me to pick the Suebi. The history teacher's like, come on, man, it's more historic. I thought it was going to be historic. And I was like, look, the reason why I'm not picking the Suebi is because I'm pretty sure you all are spamming Praetorian Guard. And he's like, okay, if you don't spam Swordmasters, I won't spam Praetorian Guard. And I was like, all right. And I wrote back to him, I said, all right, I'm not spamming anything. And we start the battle, and lo and behold, both Roman players basically spammed Praetorian Guard. And I was like, what, really? And so I asked the guy, and he's like, I never told you I wasn't bringing Praetorian Guard. And I was like, dude, look back in the chat. Of course, I said I wasn't spamming. And anyway, I don't know whether he felt bad or was just trolling and having some fun, because it was kind of funny, to be honest. I wasn't saying it in like a mean way, but anyway, he left the game. So his Praetorian spam is now AI controlled, which hopefully will work to my favor. You can see that I'm instantly surrounding the Praetorians, using my Berserkers and Swordmasters to rear charge. And then over here, I'm just using my Berserkers to pin these Praetorian Guard for now. I'm going to get quite a few kills, but I mean, Praetorian Guard on this, it's huge funds, huge unit settings, so these guys are going to be tough, but the Suebi do have excellent fear capabilities, and you can see that I've used those fear tactics here to get rid of them with these Hex Bears, combining the fear effect off the Berserkers in the rear charge, and you can even rout Praetorian Guard, yes. So otherwise, my Swordmasters will get absolutely wrecked by the Praetorian Guard in prolonged combat. It's not typically a cost-effective move for Roman to bring a lot of Praetorian Guard, but again, since we're playing in huge, basically unlimited funds, it does not matter. And obviously, I would have spammed a lot more Swordmasters had I known what our opponents were going to do. So my army, as you saw when we came into it, was fairly well mixed. I've got 4 Berserkers, 4 Wolf Warriors, 4 Swordmasters, a couple of Germanic Slingers, 2 Scout Cav, 1 Noble Cav, and a Hex Bearer. And my General and 1 other unit was a Wodenaz Spear. I did not bring the Arminius. No, what is it called? Is it Arminius? Dang, I can't remember the name of the general. He's got the special ability. No, it's not Arminius. I'm going to think of his name here in a minute. Anyway, I didn't bring that general. And the reason I didn't is because I wanted the extra scare ability on my general so that I could stack it on top of the already present scare ability from Berserkers or Wolf Warriors. Combine that with a rear charge and a hex bearer, boom, you can pick off units. So that was basically my idea. I have to separate and destroy the Romans. And before the battle, I kept reiterating to my teammate who wanted me to be a Suebi, I was like, dude, it's a city battle. You really don't want to fight the Romans in the street with the Suebi. But like I said, they all insisted on wanting us to be the Suebi, so I was like, alright, I'll go with the Suebi. I don't think it's a good idea. I was like, but we'll do it. So as you can see, I'm avoiding combat with the Praetorian Guard with my Wolf Warriors because they're going to die. Even if I get an excellent charge using the abilities, they'll die. So I have to use the special abilities, get as many kills as I can off the charge, and I will get quite a few with the Wolf Warriors. I've got the Romans surrounded. Over here, they're bunched up. And as you can see, I'm going to swing around with the Wolf Warrior. It has a fear effect and a rear charge. And it will be quite effective at helping wiping out a lot of Praetorians. But any losses I take are going to be dangerous, and obviously I need to be very cost efficient in my killing, because the Romans, just pound for pound, are going to provide excellent defense and offense and morale. What they lack, though, is the charge and the scare abilities. So that's where I have to try and make up the difference, though even up against an AI combined with one human player, and the human player was Russian and claimed to not understand us, which is quite feasible. I don't understand Russian. I'm going to kill these auxiliary Syrian archers over here with my scout riders. Yeah, you can see me basically just lining up to get behind the Romans the whole time, keeping my scare units to charge from behind where possible. These Wolf Warriors are still getting a lot of kills. Over here you'll see that I let them throw their javelins before engaging a frenzy charge into the back of all these Praetorian Guards, so hopefully the javelins soften them up a bit, and then this charge can be very effective. You can see that the morale hit is huge against the Praetorian Guards, and you can even see here that they're starting to waver. I really need my... So I do have the Hex Bearers. It takes like 2 or 3 minutes in between use, though, so you have to try and use it strategically. So here I'm going to try and move my Hex Bearer into position right here, and that way the circle of effect on the Hex Bearers will scour all these Roman units at once. That's my main goal. So yeah, if I can take care of that, I can get rid of a lot of Praetorian Guard here, up to 6 units potentially. Yep, so there goes my Hex Bearers using their scare ability. This unit here is probably going to bite it, but I mean, these Praetorian Guard do have high morale, and they're not particularly easy to knock out. It sometimes requires a combination of fear effects and rear charges to get the job done. And so right here, unfortunately, it did not cause a chain rout. I should have had my general up here too. That way my general could have used fear on one of these wavering units, and the fear will rout a wavering unit, and it can be destroyed. Fortunately, these Praetorian Guards started wavering again, and the sooner I get these guys out of here, the better. These Wolf Warriors and Berserkers have done pretty well, all things considered, but I mean, the Romans have a lot of numbers and a lot of power, and these Praetorians that get in a really prolonged fight, they are going to do quite well, though these guys are actually, they are facing the right direction. They're just scared because of being outflanked. So my Hex Bearers coming back in here. I'm going to move in other units here too. I've got more Berserkers. I want to try and defeat these Praetorian Guard before they get any more kills. This has not been a particularly cost-efficient battle for me because I did not finish it quick enough. I bring in my Noble Cav for a rear charge here. It's kind of a rear charge. I don't know which way is the rear at this point. I'm going to bring in other units here to just try and finish off this blob. These Romans here get scared, and they're starting to waver, so again, good news for me. I've got my general around so that I can try and use the fear ability, and I'm just leaving my Hex Bearers out of combat because I need this unit to survive to the end of the game. It's going to be a key part of my strategy. So yeah, you can see that, again, these Praetorian Guard are very hard to break. Very hard to break, even with all the fear effects. Now, there was a time when the Suebi's fear stuff was so overpowered that they could rout just about any faction with ease using the Hex Bearer's ability. But that's no longer the case. It's still quite helpful. But the Suebi went from being crap to the bosses of Rome 2 to kind of meh. They're not bad, but they're nothing special. They're certainly not one of the better barbarian factions, especially not when it comes to facing Rome. Not in my opinion, at least. So my teammate here, though, is... I'm gonna go ahead and say this, and I don't mean it in a bad way, and if my teammate's watching, don't take this in the wrong way. He made some, what I felt like were mistakes in this battle, and that's fine. We all make mistakes. I do them too. I lost this unit here basically out here and shouldn't have. But right here, this is a horrible fight for the Suebi. This is a perfect fight for the Romans. They're going to stay here and last forever while killing a lot of Suebi. So that's going to be very bad. My teammate should have spread out, let the Romans come in to where then he could quickly turn and outflank, and we would have gotten these Praetorians knocked out a lot easier. I'm trying to help him by bringing in Wolf Warrior rear charges, so you get the rear attack penalty combined with the scare effect of the Wolf Warriors, and this is actually hurting the morale of these Praetorians. We've really got to rout this blob before they kill my my teammate, and there are still a lot of Romans on the field. So you can see him back here, and he's got all these Germanic Scout Rider cav, which is good, and the AI is pulling up these Praetorians in Testudo, probably because of all the Scout Rider cav. My Scout Rider cav is still over here too. It can still be helpful in this battle, potentially help us hunt down the enemy general. One of the Praetorians here routed, but you can see these guys, even completely surrounded, they're going to fight dang near to the death. And then over here, the auxiliary Syrian archers are destroying the Swordmaster, unfortunately. And then all the pillar are hitting the Swordmaster too, so the Swordmaster's not used to their full potential here, unfortunately, only getting 36 kills. And don't get me wrong, my teammate helped me a lot in this battle, definitely helped me a lot, and he tried really hard to help me. So again, don't take what I said there the wrong way, because I definitely appreciate the help he gave me here. I just think there's a few things that he could have done better, and hey, I'm going to go ahead and admit it right now, there's things that I could have done better too. This is a commentary. I'm just calling it like it is. So, yep. Anyway, I've got, yeah, these guys surrounded, but again, they're not dying, and this is kind of a problem for me. So I think I'm going to cycle charge with this Wolf Warrior real quick, come in and out, and try and finish it. This is a very long battle, and it's because there's so many Roman troops, and it's because of the massive unit sizes. I can barely even fast forward, as you can see. It's really not even any faster, but I am trying to fast forward, because there is a lot of fighting still to come. My men are quite tired. The cycle charge breaks the Praetorian Guard over here, so I'm able to get my teammate free, where we both still have a lot of troops, which is quite good. There were some enemy war dogs over here that got, one group of them got misused. Both groups got misused. They went off chasing some cavalry and didn't cause any damage. So that was good for us, that they weren't able to use the war dogs effectively. But like this Woden's spear here is being wasted on the Praetorian Guard. So definitely not the best engagement for us. I've been using my slingers to try and kill these auxiliary Syrian archers, but it hasn't been happening quickly or easily. But I am finally getting some of them killed. The Syrian archers have racked up an unfortunate number of kills against us. At this point, I have a couple of berserkers left. I have some wolf warriors and 3 swordmasters that are in good shape. I've got my 2 spear units. The hex bearers are still untouched. And there's this big ball of scout cavalry. And this is another point in the battle at which I get a little bit frustrated with what my teammate does. Like I said, definitely helping me out, definitely helping me beat these guys. He was starting here in the center, and when I asked him to move out here and help me fight, he did. So, like I said, take it for what it means here. This is a big mistake, though. Bringing these scout cav anywhere near these Praetorians is a waste, because they may be able to prevent them from getting back into this battle, which would be good. But he could kind of accomplish that with like kind of quick feints and stuff. You don't actually want to get close enough for them to javelin you and actually engage. So yes, we need to keep these Praetorians out of the fight for as long as possible, because there's 8 more of them out here, and then there's 1 more here, 2 more in the town, and then several Triarii. The Triarii are not going to be very offensive, but these guys are beast, especially in a square mode. See this Triarii here holding off an entire Suebi horde? And we're not talking about crappy Suebi troops either. These are good Suebi troops, like Swordmasters, and this Triarii is holding its ground. They're very heavily armored, they have great morale, and they are tough units. So this Berserker, I did get it into the back of these Praetorian Guard, which is great. This Berserker is racking up an obscene number of kills, up to 215, which again is really fantastic. And I've got more Wolf Warriors here. They're going to help try and finish off this Triarii. I've got some Berserkers into him as well. Again, these 2 Berserker units racking up a huge number of kills, which is good. That's what I need them to do. They have an obscene charge, excellent attack, and when they go berserk, they stay fresh, that's what you want. You want these guys to go berserk. The downside is when they go berserk, they just start chasing whatever's around them in a blood frenzy, and that can be bad. I decide that the enemy general needs to die. So I get in here and get into the enemy general, and he's about to die, but then the Russian player pulls him out here at the last second, and I'm like, crap, dang it, I almost had him. And see here, I'm making a mistake. My scout riders are engaged here, but again, so far this is good. My teammate's kind of doing feints and just keeping the AI busy here, and he's actually caused a lot of damage with his javelins on this unit. So again, not entirely bad, but as you can see here, if he engages these guys in melee, it's going to go down very poorly. What he's doing here, though, is actually probably worthwhile as far as getting all those kills on that Praetorian Guard. That's excellent, and well done by him. So yeah, I think that I'm going to kill the enemy general here, and his Syrian archers, though, start to fire on my men. And the friendly fire is bad in Rome 2, but it's not near as bad as Attila. And his Syrian archers are actually doing more damage to my noble riders than to his general. And it's quite possible the Roman general, in his cowardly way, is going to escape my men here, which is frustrating. Because if that Roman general gets away, it means this fight is going to drag on a lot longer than I want it to. These units here belong to the Russian player, and these 4 units here belong to the player who dropped. And again, this is where I think the mistake happens out here. I alluded to it earlier. My teammate engages these Praetorian Guards in melee. This is absolute folly. If he wants to feint, kind of hit and run them, great. Keep them out of the battle for a while. That is not folly whatsoever, and it's extremely helpful to keep these guys away from the battle. But staying in prolonged combat here is pure suicide. It won't work. No matter how many directions you hit them from, these Germanic scout riders just do not have the melee power to get rid of these Praetorian Guards, not in their wildest dreams. So just be aware of that. So yeah, in any case, you can see we're breaking into the town center here. The problem is our guys are very tired. There's still a lot of Praetorian Guard on the field, so this battle is by no means won, even though so far it has gone massively in our favor. My guys have gotten a lot of kills. My teammate has been helpful on multiple fronts. But I mean, this right here, whenever I saw this happening, it's like, man, get your horses out of that battle, get your horses out. And he actually, I think, dismounts, he dismounts his scout riders here. So that means that we've lost their mobility as well. So this was an unfortunate moment in the battle. That was definitely a mistake, and one that could, as you can see, potentially cost us the battle. We'll see. Again, keeping these guys at bay is one thing. Sacrificing all those cav for almost no effect is another thing. Now, using their javelins into the back of a Praetorian Guard was genius, and he killed a lot of them. As you can see, this unit is pretty much wrecked. But this right here was a big waste of troops. Very unfortunate, and I was like, no, because the Roman general actually pulled away from my cav. My cav got killed, and he lived. Only 12 men left in the bodyguard, and the Roman pig lives. Such a jerk. Not the player, of course, his general I'm talking about. The Russian player was a good sport, and he played us a fun game here. Yeah, one of these dippos is the Roman general. I can't tell which one, though. It doesn't look like any of those. I can't tell that any one of these guys is actually the general. Usually he carries a sword. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's off somewhere else. Anyway, like I said, this battle's quite long. There's still a fight there in the town center, and it's going to go sour for us. The guys that I have here, unfortunately, now are going to die, most certainly, which is unfortunate because we didn't even get to rout those Praetorian Guard and not even these Triarii yet. So that's unfortunate. I'm going to do my best to pull out here, let my guys rest. In fact, as you can see, there is still a lot of battle left here, almost 30 minutes. So I'm going to be doing a substantial amount of fast forwarding at this point, because we spend a lot of time letting our guys rest. Now, again, the Russian player did not understand us. My teammate and I asked to go into fast forward so we could rest, and again, you can see at this point that he is attempting to stay in this fight, and I was like, dude, get out of there, get out of there, get out of there. And eventually he does pull out and we rest our troops, but he stays in this fight way too long. This is the fight that the Romans love and that they will win, and the reason I didn't come in to try and help him here is because my guys are exhausted and it would not have worked. Plus, those Praetorian Guard that he sacrificed his cav into had to be killed, and so I figure that my men will best be used to utterly ambush and destroy them. This unit, though, the AI brings it into the back of my men, and these are all AI troops here. I managed to get a complete and total surrounding, which is great. I've got my hex bearers nearby to scare the daylights out of these Roman troops, but my general was probably a little too far here, and this Roman unit here is wavering. I need to use the scare effect for my general on it. If I were to use the scare effect right now, he would be gone, and indeed that unit does rout, which means I can now charge these guys in the back. I use the war cry here, and this unit's now wavering. So as you can see, the hex bearers have actually been one of the MVPs in this, and obviously it's not going to be over until the fat hex bearer sings. Oh, Air's such a sexist. not really, folks. It was just a joke. So, in any case, yeah, I'm killing all these Praetorian Guards. So another batch of Praetorian Guard completely mopped up by my ferocious Suebi warriors. So despite the fact that I was lied to about the spamming of Praetorian Guard, the battle is actually looking pretty good for us. There are still a huge number of Praetorian Guard left here in the town center, and if the Romans get defensive, defeating that Praetorian Guard is going to be difficult. But if my opponent will pull away from this fight and save what units he can, we certainly have a chance, and if his cavalry were alive right now, it could kill this Roman general, which would make our chances that much better. But unfortunately, that is no longer the case, but I got my cavalry killed too. So, unfortunately for the both of us, the Roman cavalry remains yet alive. I'm not sure why it's lagging so much. Probably the unit size and all the dead corpses on the ground and stuff. Plus, it looks like it's raining. So yeah, I'm going to have to fast forward for a pretty long time at this point. So the battle overall went very well so far. Like I said, I've gotten an absolutely obscene amount of kills, all things considered, because number one, the AI is crazy. And two, I've been making effective use of the fact that when Suebi use the fear units, rear charges, and other fear effects, they can have success. It's definitely not the right map for it here, so again, the AI being there helped, and then the mistakes on the part of the Russian player have also helped. But the mistakes on the part of my teammate have been pretty bad for us, and then my mistakes have been bad too. So I've lost a few units that I shouldn't have by getting a little too hasty. And as you can see, that because of my mistakes and the mistakes of my teammate, that getting rid of these Romans who are kind of camped out here with the morale bonus, and that's the key here. The Romans have captured the town. It's not going to give them a victory, but they get a morale buff because of this. And this is a huge problem because I am relying on morale shock to get rid of the Romans. So it's going to be a massive problem. And we are going to have to come attack. The Russian player couldn't speak much English, basically saying, you attack, you have to attack, which basically means that he intends to camp in the town center until Kingdom Come without attacking us, even though technically they were the attackers in this battle because we were the ones defending the town. But, you know, whatever, we've done all this attacking, and so I sent kind of a joking message to him and said, hey, my men are resting. They're quite tired from slaughtering so many Roman troops, so you got to give me a minute. And that's exactly what we're doing here, just letting our guys rest. The stamina does not recover nearly so fast in Rome 2 as it does in Attila. So that's actually one thing I like better about Attila. In general, I think the stamina effects there are a little better as far as the recovery and the negative effects that it has on the units after this last patch. It's not perfect. It still takes quite a long time for units to get very tired in Attila. You don't want it to be too quick because then that destroys rushing, but you don't want it to be too slow either. In any case, our guys are pretty much rested, and at this point, I keep telling my teammate, like, hey, just let my guys lead because I've got the sword masters. Let them lead. You just wait and try and get around their flank with your men. And I was like, just let it work that way. It'll work out. We've got this. We can kill these guys because we're going to have the morale effect of outflanking. And then I was like, I'm going to bait their Pilla out, and sure enough, the Roman player's crazy. He just wastes all the javelins from his troops on my slingers, so I let him do it all day long. I have a couple of javelins left in this Wodenaz spear and in this Wolf Warrior, and I'm hoping that by just dumb luck, we can get lucky and throw them and potentially kill the Roman general, as if that happens, it's going to be a huge morale blow and something we badly need. Now, the Roman troops are disciplined, so the effect of the general's death is not big, but we need every little bit of morale blow that we can get. I can't target the Roman general with my javelins. I can just throw them fire at will and hope to get lucky, which unfortunately was not the case, and I have to back up. And these Wodenaz spears go ahead and throw the rest of their javelins, and unfortunately the Roman general lives. At this point, I was drawing back here, like telling my teammate, move here, move your troops back. I need a clean charge. Please move your troops back. And he just does not listen. And it's unfortunate. He listened to a lot of the advice that I gave him in this battle, and very much appreciated. But this is something that I'm very worried at this point that if he charges in first, we're going to lose because he'll charge in doing very little, and his guys will die, and his men will block the charge of my sword masters who badly need the charge for extra damage. And the same way with my Wolf Warriors. That's why I have my Wolf Warriors on the flank. I want the Fear unit to be able to come in from the flank and from behind. whereas the standard units I don't so much care. But yeah, see, my teammate here decides that he's going to move forward into combat, which again is not trying to be mean, but just there's no point in taking these Woden-ass spears into combat with the Praetorian Guard. Like I said, what I was hoping for is I would charge here, 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 and here, and I was hoping my teammate would come all the way around and get these guys from behind, so that what few units he had left would inflict that penalty, so that way my Hex Bearers can come up, cast their Hex on this whole Roman crowd, and then use my general to use the war cry to pick off a wavering Roman unit, so that it would go, and then hopefully, bada bing, bada boom, chain rout. So we'll see if it happens. But yeah, you can see that my teammate has decided to go up here into a spear wall. I don't think the spear wall is really... I mean, it gives them a nice boost to melee defense, but they will still die. The Romans will kill them. And he's blocked the charge for his own berserkers here by so doing. So I'm not a big fan of what he's doing there, and that's why I'm not charging right now, because I'm like, dang it, I need to charge, but his guys have my way blocked. And the way that the Russian player has his troops in these long column lines, it's going to allow this Wolf Warrior over here to get a brutal charge on the flank of these Praetorian Guards. And so that is very good, but this is very bad. I can't really assist my teammate here, because if I charge through his own men, my guy's own performance will be ruined. So right now I'm kind of stuck in the position of what do I do, and he's like, hey, I left the flanks open for you. Well, not really. This is a key flank because this is the long flank, and this is where I need to charge the most. So you can see I'm just trying to figure out what to do here. I do a frenzy charge from these Wolf Warriors into the flank of this Praetorian Guard, and it is going to be very devastating. It's going to kill a lot of Romans, and then I follow up with my Swordmasters, but this is really not the best move, because they're not getting the cleanest charge. But I mean, this Praetorian Guard suffered badly from the charge of that Wolf Warrior. It took a lot of damage, but as that charge wears off, these Praetorian Guards are going to cut my men to pieces. So this battle was probably very winnable if, like I said, if my teammate would have gotten around here and allowed me the clean flank charges that I need. At this point, I'm hesitant to use the fear effect on my Hex Bearers, because the Roman troops aren't even the least bit scared at this point. I have to at least get them a little scared, and that's where we badly needed this rear attack penalty. So I'm going to try and swing my Wolf Warriors around to do that, and then pull in this Swordmaster to hit these Romans in the flank again. The dense formations are actually quite good for the Roman at this point, because it's making it impossible for me to get clean charges on them from the front. So only these flank units are vulnerable. I go ahead and run up here, do a charge, followed up by a headhunt for massive damage against the flank of this Praetorian, and it is going quite well. This Swordmaster's up to 250 kills. But like I said, the biggest problem I have at this point is that I'm just not going to be able to inflict as much morale damage here as possible. As if like I said, if my teammate would have left me clear lines of charge, I could have inflicted massive morale penalties like you can see here. And then the rear charge, the Roman general would die. At the same time, I could pop the Hex Bearer's ability, and then use my general to pick off a wavering Praetorian Guard, get that chain route started, and bada bing, bada boom, there we go. Fortunately for me, the morale bonus the Romans get has been taken away, because we're sharing the town center. I have to pull my Wolf Warriors away here. I pop the Hex Bearer scare, and this is the moment of truth. If it happens here, it'll work. I've got to get my general in, and we do get rid of one of the Praetorian Guard right there, so that was key. And I was like, sweet, we got him, we're going to chain route these losers. But then the Triarii stabilizes, and I was like, dadgummit. That was bad. So now all the Roman troops have stabilized, because there's no attacked in the rear penalty. And so that was a huge mistake. We needed to have had another unit over here to attack these guys in the rear. So we did get rid of a couple of Roman units, and right now it's still even looking possible. But these Praetorian Guard are stabilizing, and they are just not going to die at this point. Perhaps I should have had these Wolf Warriors all the way around. This is this is good. The Roman player is reforming, which will give us a few kills, but he's basically forming up to protect his flank, and that's why he spread out this unit over here too. His flank is more protected. So at this point, I'm thinking the game is lost. There could still be a small chance for me to win. But again, see, my opponent's own troops, or teammates' own troops, were a little bit in the way, but it was only 4 Berserkers, so it shouldn't be bad. This Swordmaster gets a brilliant charge, gonna get a lot of kills. but we are just not having the morale effect on the Roman troops. So again, I'm going to swing this Wolf Warrior around and try and inflict a rear charge penalty. I badly need rear charge penalties. The Roman player knows this and turns around, which is fine because he's only being attacked by Woden-S spears. It's not going to really cause him any damage to run away. So at this point, the charge of my Wolf Warriors is ruined. They didn't get a rear charge anywhere, so they're not causing a big morale effect. They are scaring the Roman units, but none of the Roman units are losing decisively either, which is quite bad. I'm going to try and squeeze the Hex Bearers into this spot, which is dangerous because if this unit dies, then it's game over. But I need a unit to get in here and do some damage from behind. And my Hex Bearers are going to get in here, and this unit starts to waver, so we have a very key moment here, a chance to rout this Praetorian Guard. But as my Hex Barriers start to go into the back of it, it somehow stabilizes again, and then this Roman unit's going to plow into the back of the Hex Barriers, and the Wolf Warriors routed. So with the Roman unit stabilizing here, it's looking less and less likely that I can pull this off. And if my Hex Bearers rout, game over. I'm just really trying to keep my general alive. The Roman actually comes to chase my general, so I'm going to have to pull out and around to keep my general safe. Pulling through though was a big mistake for the enemy Praetorian Guard because I got a lot of kills. I go ahead and war cry it, hoping to get rid of it. But again, unfortunately, these guys are a tough nut to crack, and they are going to try and stabilize yet again. Perhaps if my general had been here for a rear charge combined with that, it would have worked, but as you can see, this Roman unit is just not giving up. And it's got 3 chevrons, and its attack is just getting stronger as the battle goes on. And you can see it's going to actually pull out of here and try and make it back to the other Praetorian Guards to form up a stable defense. And this is actually bad for me, so it's frustrating. My Hex Bearers are getting close to having another scare ability, and so I go ahead and pull all my troops back one more time because I need to let the scare ability recharge, and I'm going to let this unit just kind of fight it out. I probably should have pulled back with this unit as well. This was probably a mistake to leave them here. Yeah, I should have pulled this unit out too because they wouldn't have taken a ton of losses from the Praetorians. Because I think the enemy Praetorians are in a formation attack, so this is a big mistake on me. I should have pulled all these units back, let them rest, and get their charge and their headhunt and get my scare abilities and frenzy and everything back that we need. But by just going in like this, I'm really hindering myself, and we'll see what happens. Like I said, it's still very close. If we could inflict enough morale penalties and use my Hex Bearers, we might cause a chain rout here amongst the Romans. So let's see what happens. I'm using a headhunt again here to keep my guys in the fight for as long as possible. I'm doing some rear charges with my general. Let's see how this goes. The Roman morale was in the yellow, but mine's none too great either. In fact, I've got a Wolf Warrior here wavering, which is bad because it's one of the last units I think that are... Well, no, this Hex Bearer scares enemy units too. That's good. I used the scare effect from the Hex Bearers. Unfortunately, it's not enough to get one of the Praetorian Guard wavering. This is very, very unfortunate for me. Actually, it wavers now, and I hit it with the War Cry, hoping to get rid of it. And look at that. It survived a War Cry and a Hex Bearer and a rear charge. This Praetorian Guard, it just would not die. And it's now run away to where it's being protected by this other unit. And now my guys start to waver, so at this point it's pretty much game over. My Hex Bearers are still alive, all my other units are still alive, but I just kind of go ahead and throw in here, and it's just like, well, it's pretty much over. I do pull out and think, well, maybe one more Hex Bearer run will actually get the job done. And so I pull all my troops back and let them rest. So there's 3 Praetorian Guard. I've got a few Sword Masters, a Woden-S Spear, and the Hex Bearers, and I'm letting my Hex Bearers' ability recharge. Thinking that, who knows, maybe I can get really lucky here. And my teammate's saying, GG, it's over. And I'm like, hey, it's not over. This is where I said it's not over till the fat Hex Bearer sings. And he thought that was pretty funny. Maybe not that funny. But yeah, right there I was typing to him. And he charged my Swordmaster, and I was like, no, because it was like still 20 or 30 seconds before my Hex Bearer was ready. And it's like that. If I wouldn't have been typing, I would have run away. But because of this, I have certainly lost the game. And my Hex Bearer literally dies. I kid you not, it dies 2 or 3 seconds before the ability was available again. And unfortunately for me, this game's over. If I had the Hex ability, this unit would be gone. This unit might potentially have started a waver where I could have war cried it, but now it's over. So I still feel like I won this battle, and you'll see why on the stats screen. Considering that I brought a very subpar Suebi army in a city versus straight up Praetorian spam, I am very happy with the way this turned out. I very much appreciate my teammate helping me in this battle. Obviously, I wouldn't have had so much success without him. There was a few mistakes that he and I made that led to our defeat here, unfortunately. But it was still a very fun battle, and as you can see, my guys did some massive killing here with 3,675 kills. Way more than either Roman player was able to pull off, and I'm very happy about that. There's a few things that obviously went against us. This Logan Epic Kanto guy here, he got way too many kills with these Syrian archers, and we just allowed too many of his Praetorian Guard to be good. As you can see, a couple of his units were whacked pretty easy, but most of his Praetorian Guard got enough kills to be worth their while. And you can see that some of my Swordmasters got a lot of kills too. This is a silver chevron after one battle for this Swordmaster. That's impressive. Triple bronze here. But a couple of my Swordmasters, you can see this one here, not doing so good. And my Germanic Slingers did fine. Absorbed a lot of Pilla, got a lot of kills, definitely worthwhile. The Hex Bearers, again, I still think were some of the MVPs here because of their scare ability. And all of my Wolf Warriors, really, considering what they were up against here, did fantastic. But like I said, I still made some mistakes. And you can look at my Berserkers. This unit did awful, and I completely misused it. These two units did beastly great. This one was not good enough. So just to kind of give you an idea, my Wodenaz Spears did okay-ish considering they were in a battle against Roman heavy swordsmen. Look at my teammates' army here. Again, getting some kills, but not nearly as much as we potentially could have with these Scout Riders. And then let's see which 247 kills is pretty respectable in that Berserker. That's a nice job. But you can see his Swordmasters here were not able to accomplish some of the same. And having this many spears against the Romans was probably not exactly what we needed. But like I said, glad he played the game with me. If you're watching, thank you, man. It was a lot of fun. I had a good time. And I'm glad that I chose the Suebi in the end, as this wouldn't have been near as much fun if I was just phalanxed up in the town center watching the Romans die on my Spartans. Hope you all enjoyed this one. HeirofCarthage signing off for now. I will see you soon.